Math 1, final benchmark number 49. A chef collects data on the average daily temperature and the number of burgers ordered for the day. The table shows the data the chef collects, which can be approximated by a linear function. All right, so linear function is important. All right, so we've got temperature and number of burgers. So we can say this is our x and this is our y. And it says which statement is true. The correlation coefficient. So on each one of these, it's talking about the correlation coefficient. So we're going to have to put the data in our calculator and write an equation in order to find the correlation coefficient. So let's pull up the calculator. I'm going to bring it over here out of the way. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I can write an equation by going to Stat and calculate equation, but to get the correlation coefficient, I first have to turn on the diagnostics. So I'm going to go to second 0, which is my catalog. And when I get to my catalog, I'm going to scroll down until I find diagnostics on. So there's a diagnostics off and there's a diagnostics on. I'm going to hit enter, but then I have to hit enter a second time to turn it on. All right, so now when I write an equation, it's going to give me my R, which is my correlation coefficient. All right, so I'm going to go back to Stat, and now I'm going to edit. Now I'm going to enter my data. So I'm going to enter L1 will be my X's, so 78, 85, 65, 61, 54, and 70. All right, in L2, I'm going to put my number of burgers, my Y values. So 172, 187, 145, 133, 125, and 181. All right, now once I have my data in my calculator, I'm going to go back to Stat. I've already entered my data, so now I need to calculate. All right, I underlined it. It said we need a linear function, so I'm going to go to number 4. It's going to pull my data from L1 and L2, so I'm just going to scroll down and hit calculate. All right, so it gives us y equals mx plus b, our a and b, that's our slope and our y-intercept. And then r now is the correlation coefficient. So we can look here. A and B both has a correlation coefficient of approximately 0.83. All right, this says it's approximately 0.91. So it says the correlation coefficient is approximately 0.91 and it represents a strong linear relationship. Well, the closer to 1 it is, the stronger the correlation. So that's going to be true. This one says represents a weak relationship. The closer to 0 it is, the closer or the more weak it is. So that's not true. So this is a question about basically being able to use your calculator. Remember to turn on the R. You have to go to second 0, which is your catalog. Scroll down to diagnostics on. Once your diagnostics is on, you do the same thing as before. And you write your equation and it will tell you what your R is. And the R is the correlation coefficient. All right, so for number 49, the answer is C.